Morning. Okay. A pleasant morning to see you all. Right. Then you see in our yesterday's class, in the freedom struggle, I had given you at the outset the unique aspects of India's nationalism, then the factors and the forces behind the rise of our nationalism. Then you see the concluding part of our yesterday's class. We came up to the end of the age of moderatism in Indian politics. I made you understand who were moderates, ideology, their method of struggle, and their objectives. Right. Then you see, in today we have got to start with the critical evaluation, assessment of the age of moderatism. Okay. Critical evaluation of moderatism, I mean, where things went wrong for moderates and what were their achievements, if at all. Okay. See, in modern India, particularly in freedom struggle, you have every leadership with its own failures and achievements. Don't simply say that leadership everywhere ended up as a failure. I mean, you should not end your answers with negative note, right? When it comes to the problems with moderatism, in other words, the drawbacks. Number one, moderates made Congress party a party of the elite only. Okay. Educated upper middle classes, aristocrats, okay, capitalists, industrialists, you see, they were the ones who constituted the moderate wing. Okay. In other words, moderates never brought masses into the struggle. On the other hand, they held the masses in utter contempt. Okay. This is one main problem with moderatism. You can say, in other words, under moderates, the social basis of the Congress party was very much restricted. Okay. Restricted to only a certain section of the society. Okay. Social basis very much restricted, number one. Second problem with the moderates was, you see, their unflinching loyalty. Congress party, a party of the majority people of India, right? Party representing people of India. A party representing the people of India must voice the people's concern, right? Whereas you see, Congress party continued to express its loyalty to the English. This is where moderates failed to stand up to the expectations of the people. Definitely. Okay. More rigorous, voice, more stern voice is required here. Vocal representation is very important, and moderates could not give that. Okay, that's second important drawback of moderatism. Third important thing is, you see, some people are asking me this question. Okay, I am making it quite clear to you now. Try to understand. Moderates were experts on the drain theory, right? They expose the true nature of colonialism, I mean, exploitative nature of colonialism. Fine. Dadabhai Nauroji, Justice Renande, okay, Dinsha Vacha, okay, all were experts on drain theory, right? Even then, even though they knew that English were exploiting India, they continued to repose their faith in the fairness of the British administration. Okay. They continued to trust the English. The idea development of England would be the development of India is contradictory. Development of England would only be development of England, right? It would never ever be the development of India. How to understand this problem? When they knew English were exploitative, question why they continue to remain loyal, why they express their loyalty. Okay. One of your boys, the other day in yesterday's class, he asked me this question. I am answering this question now. Okay. The problem with the moderates, they knew English were exploiting. Okay. And they expected change in the attitude of the English. That's the reason why Dadabhai used the title Poverty and Un-British. Okay. Question in UPSC was this: why Dadabhai used the word un-British? Okay. Un-British. For moderates, British are known for what? Liberalism, progressivism, democracy. So, the British were known for their liberalism, right? Democracy. Such British government exploiting the people blatantly means it's un-British rule. Here, Dadabhai was more pleading rather than criticizing the British for a change in their attitude. That's why he used the word un-British. Now, coming back to the point, English, the moderates knew English were exploiting. Even then, they continued to entertain the idea that there would be change in the attitude of the English. Okay. This is where things went wrong. Okay. They knew that British were exploiting, and even then they continued to remain loyal to the English. Okay. This is where they became unpopular. Okay. And you see, moderates failed miserably when Karjan announced the partition of Bengal. Okay. Lord Karjan, Governor General, okay, when he went against the public opinion, he decided to go for partition of Bengal. Moderates miserably failed there in voicing the people's discontent. Right? These are all the drawbacks of moderatism. Right? In spite of these drawbacks, okay, I told you already, don't ever say that the entire moderatism and moderates are all ended up as failures. Okay. Moderatism did have certain achievements. See, concrete achievements of moderates. Concrete achievements of moderates, number one, okay, moderates wanted age relaxation for Indian civil service aspirants. If you remember, I told you Lytton reduced it from 21 to 19. Okay. Now moderates wanted the same to be restored, to 21. Okay. When moderates, represented on this issue, Governor General Dufferin appointed Aitchison Committee. Okay, AITCHISON, Aitchison Committee. Okay. To consider the demand of moderates, to look into the, not the demand, to look into the representation of moderates. Okay. This Aitchison Committee 1886, when I go to civil services, I'll tell you again. Okay. This recommended for increasing the upper age limit. Upper age limit from 19 to 22. Okay, not 21. It gave one more year extra. 22. 19 to 22, but exams would only be held in London. Okay. Our moderate leaders also represented for the question exams to be held in India simultaneously, but the committee recommended only for one thing, that is increasing the upper age limit from 19 to 22, but exams would only be held in London. Okay. But all said and done, you have got the age relaxation here, upper age limit, increase. It's mainly because of moderates. Okay. Number one. Next, number two. Okay. If you remember, you see another, that very important, another thing closely connected with this. Civil service, candidates and their issues. Moderates wanted the exam to be held in India. Okay. Closely connected with that, 1893, okay, in 1893, Parliament passed a resolution. Okay, accepting for conducting the exams, okay, simultaneously in England and in India at a time. 1893, Parliament in principle agreed. But unfortunately, you see, it's not given effect. Though Parliament passed a resolution accepting the idea, okay, it did not materialize. But definitely in principle it was accepted, and credit goes to moderates for this. Right. Then if you remember, I told you, moderates wanted, okay, meaningful constitutional reforms. Meaningful, I mean meaningful representation. Okay. Meaningful representation means what? Moderates wanted expansion of legislative councils, more representation for Indians. Expansion of legislative councils means what? More representation for Indians. Number one. Number two, Indian members must have the right to ask questions, right to discuss, debate, and to vote. That is meaningful representation. More representation, okay, and qualitatively a better representation. Indian members must have the right to ask questions, discuss, debate, and to vote. Okay, this is what is meaningful representation and constitutional reforms they wanted. Okay. It's because you see the representation came from moderates in this regard. 1892 Indian Councils Act was passed. Indian Councils Act. Okay. Indian Councils Act was passed 1892. Providing for what? Okay. 1892 Indian Councils Act made what that was maximum in 1861 minimum. Okay, follow this carefully. If you remember, in 1861 Indian Councils Act, minimum of 8 members, Indian members, maximum of 12, okay, would be nominated to the legislative councils. These 8, minimum of 8 and maximum of 12 Indian members nominated to the legislative councils, you call them non-official or unofficial members. Okay. Non-official. Non-official or unofficial members. Okay. They could only represent, they have no right to ask questions, I told you, discuss, debate, and to vote. Right. Now you see 1892 Indian Councils Act made this maximum minimum. Okay. Minimum of 12, maximum of 16. Okay. Minimum of 12, maximum of 16 Indian members will be nominated to the legislative councils. Okay. They will have the right to ask questions, discuss, but no right to vote. Okay. See this. Your Congress party, you want Indian members to have the right to ask questions, discuss, debate, and vote. Okay. Indian members, I mean non-official members, now can ask questions, discuss, but no right to vote. Number one. Secondly, executive may or may not answer the questions. You want the right to ask question, okay, you are given the right to ask question, ask the question. Executive may or may not answer. Okay. But definitely, all said and done, 1892 Indian Councils Act, a better act than before. Better act than before. You have more Indian members. They have the right to ask questions now. Okay. 1892. Right. Then you see, okay, moderates also wanted, okay, an inquiry committee into the issue of public spending, public expenditure. Okay. Public expenditure. Okay. It is because of the efforts of moderates in 1895 English appointed Welby Commission. Okay, mark it important. 1895. Okay. English, I mean British administration appointed Welby, W-E-L-B-Y. Okay. W-E-L-B-Y, Welby Commission. This Welby Commission was for studying the public expenditure, Indian expenditure, how much expenditure was incurred. Okay. Because you see, we had our own representation. I mean, our own, problems with regarding business, British expenditure. They are spending more our finances on military expenditure. They are spending more our finances on communication systems. That are all benefiting them. And it's wasteful expenditure also, maintaining such vast, military establishment and all that. We're wasting public money. So when moderates expressed concern on this, 1895 Welby Commission was appointed to look into the public expenditure or Indian expenditure. It goes to moderates, right? Then what happened was, you see, in 1902, okay, Governor General Karjan was the Governor General. Karjan's reign, okay, his tenure was known for what? Karjan was for curbing the autonomy of, self-governing bodies, panchayats, municipalities, universities. The universities, yes, why? Because okay, Karjan was the one who founded technical education centers, engineering colleges and all that. When I go to Vande Mataram movement, before that I'll discuss extremist politics, right? Karjan had done great service. Okay, don't say that the Karjan was altogether a villain. Karjan, there's positive side of Karjan. Okay, we'll discuss that later. Okay, Karjan was disappointed because in spite of his good work, okay, the work failed to give him positive result. Engineering colleges were founded, universities were founded, whereas these centers of learning, instead of training well-educated people, okay, they are becoming the centers for sedition. Revolutionaries were all products of engineering colleges. Okay, for instance, Roorkee Engineering College. Okay, all revolutionaries, great revolutionaries, most of them were products of Roorkee Engineering College. For Karjan, universities and engineering colleges were manufacturing centers for terrorists, revolutionaries. Okay, we don't use the word terrorists because they are our heroes. They fought for our country, they laid down their lives for our nation. For us, they are our revolutionaries. We don't use the word terrorists. British used the word terrorists. But all said and done, engineering colleges were becoming centers of revolutionary activities. This disappointed Karjan. Okay. So now Karjan wanted to bring universities and the education centers under the direct control of the state. That's why you see 1902 Thomas Raleigh Committee was appointed. Okay, Thomas Raleigh, Releigh committee was appointed. Okay, on the recommendations of Thomas Raleigh Committee, okay, 1904 Indian Universities Act was passed. Okay, Indian Universities Act was passed, curbing the autonomy of universities, right? And similarly, municipality, Calcutta Municipal Corporation, its autonomy was also affected. Way back 1898 itself, Karjan decided to, bring municipal corporations more under the control of the British. Okay. So these, things had gone to the notice of moderates, and moderates presented memorandum against these things. It's because of the efforts of moderates. Point is, it's because of the efforts of moderates. Okay. 1904, Kolkata Municipal Corporation Act. Kolkata Municipal Corporation Act. Okay. And Kolkata University Act, both were revoked. These acts were suspended by Karjan. Okay, so that's definitely a great achievement of moderate. Okay, it is to the credit of moderates that these two acts were revoked. Okay, then you see moderates. Okay, were I should say their most important achievement, their greatest achievement was the drain theory, right? Otherwise called the economic critique. It's with this drain theory, otherwise called economic critique. the moderates expose the true nature of colonialism. I already discussed in detail about these things, right? Dadabhai Nauroji, Dinshaw Vacha, Justice Rende, R.C. Dutt, and others, right? Okay, they expose the true nature of British colonialism. Okay, and that's how economic nationalism started. It's because of moderate string theory. Okay. So moderates did have achievements. Okay, don't say that the age of moderatism altogether ended up as a failure. Right. This is the end of the first chapter, age of moderatism in Indian politics. Right. Now you are going to the second phase of the nationalist movement, extremism. What was extremism? I told you, whether a moderate or an extremist or a revolutionary in the freedom struggle, you decide it by their ideology, method of struggle, and objectives. Clear? Go by these three. Okay. What was extremist ideology? What was extremist method of struggle? And what were extremist objectives? First understand this, then you go to the reasons why it all started and all that. Extremist ideology differs with moderatism. Okay. Fundamental differences are there. Okay. What are the differences between moderates and the extremists? Okay. Ideologically, okay, they differ with each other. Okay. Where do you see ideological differences? Okay. Number one, if you remember, I said for moderates, okay, British administration very powerful. All movements failed against the British. So better we go for cooperation, no place for confrontation. Right? See the first point of difference here, okay, ideological differences, ideology. For moderates, cooperation. Right. For extremists, confrontation. Okay. Why confrontation? Confrontation unavoidable. Okay. For moderates, okay, colonialism, nationalism, okay, they were not contradictory, they are complementary. If you remember, I told you, for moderates, development of England would mean development of India. For extremists, development of England would only be development of England. It would not be development of India. Okay. Colonialism and nationalism, they can never be complementary. Colonialism and nationalism would be contradictory. Development of England would always be development of England only. It will not be development of India. Okay. That's why confrontation unavoidable. Okay. For moderates, cooperation. For extremists, confrontation. Okay. Because for moderates, colonialism, nationalism, complementary. For extremists, colonialism, nationalism, contradictory. Right. This is the fundamental difference. Next, number two, if you remember, I told you, moderates, they believed in gradual course of change. Who is a moderate? Who believes in gradual course of change. You remember I told you? Gradual course of change. Okay. If the change takes place gradually, it will remain for long. Okay. For you, any change to remain for long, it must be gradual. Whereas extremists, you see, they wanted revolutionary changes. Why revolution? What is a revolutionary change? Revolutionary change means a sudden change. Okay. For moderate, okay, a sudden change means, it would end suddenly, it will go away suddenly, it would wither away suddenly. Okay. That's why it is not acceptable. Whereas for XMS, okay, sudden changes do matter. Sudden changes also sometimes matter a lot. Okay. You can't expect a change to take place on its own and leave it to time, right? You are expecting change to take place means what? You are leaving it to time to decide, right? How long you will remain like that? For XMS, one must try to get the change at the earliest. Sooner the change, the better it would be, right? Sooner the change, better it would be. Okay. So revolutionary change. Okay. For XMS, okay, revolutionary change. For moderates, gradual. Okay. Third important thing, you remember I told you in yesterday's class. Moderates were Videshi, right? Foreign. They are great admirers of British ideas, institutions, language, English. Okay, they are highly anglicized. Okay, whereas extremists completely Swadeshi. I will discuss this. What is Swadeshi later? Okay, one is a Videshi, moderate. Extremist, a Swadeshi. Okay, these are ideological differences, fundamental differences. Right. Now you go to the differences in method of struggle. Okay. What are the differences in the method of struggle? What was moderate method of struggle? Remember, moderate method of struggle was called constitutional means. Right. Constitutional means. This is moderate method of struggle. Against this, you have extremist method of struggle, popular means. Okay. Moderates, constitutional means. Okay. I have explained what do you mean by constitutional means. Now again I am telling you. Constitutional means method of struggle means seeking solution. Seeking solution within the framework of the Constitution. Within the framework of the Constitution. Right. This is constitutional means. Okay. You have a problem, solution to the problem within the framework of the Constitution. For moderates, Constitution is supreme. Okay. When I am using the word Constitution, don't ask me a question, was there Constitution already drafted? You see the problem, you people, you are taking things in a literal sense of the word. Okay. When I say constitutional means of agitation, it does not mean constitution already drafted. Okay. English had certain laws, right? You see 1850, 1858 Government of India Act, right? 1861 Indian Councils Act, 1892 Indian Councils Act again. These are all constitutional provisions, right? Okay. There's nothing called, what the constitution of today's type, right? But definitely there were certain acts that had become the basis for constitutional functioning. Okay. So what the act says, you go accordingly. This is what is constitutional means for moderates. Okay. Seeking solution. Any problem, any solution, it must always be within the framework of the Constitution. Whereas for extremists, popular means. What do you mean by popular means? Popular means, okay, you see, organizing strikes, demonstrations, okay, hartals, okay, It is all popular means. Popular means bringing people, organizing people's movements, paralyzing the state. For an extremist, you can't find a solution within the framework of the constitution, because every constitution is the work of the administration. Okay. Administration forms laws. Administration, acts according to its convenience. Okay. According to its convenience. So long as you seek a solution, it will not be a solution. That is the problem. So because you are seeking a solution within the framework of law. Okay. Solution lies beyond the framework of the constitution for the extremists. What is beyond the framework of the constitution? Organized people's movement. Okay. Popular means organizing people. People's movement, conducting strikes, demonstrations, hartals. What will happen if you do all this? You are virtually paralyzing the state. Right? Force the state. Okay. Bring it to its knees. Bring it down to its knees. Then only you can make them hear to your words. Okay. Otherwise, state will not listen. Okay. Extremist means, right? Extremists also believed in other slogans. Other slogans, Swadeshi. Okay. Swaraj. Right? Total boycott. Right. Total boycott. Swadeshi, Swaraj, total boycott. And last resort, sedition. 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 Okay. Sedition. Okay. I will explain each one. What is Swadeshi? Swadeshi in ideas, institutions, behavioral pattern, everything native. Okay. Your ideas, native ideas, not foreign. Your institutions, native institutions. Your customs, traditions, dress, language, everything native. Okay. This is Swadeshi. Speak your native language. Okay. Culture, native culture. Okay. Customs, traditions, native culture. Understand? Ideas and deeds, everything reflecting your native culture. That is Swadeshi. Okay. Our industries must be given top priority. Everything Indian. Okay. No question of going for foreign. Foreign culture, ideas, institutions, everything would be boycotted. This is Swadeshi. Okay. Education, no foreign education. Go for native Indian education. Understand? You can develop your own system as per the time. There is no need of English education. Why extremists were not for English education? Because English education created more gap between educated and the illiterate. Okay. Educated and illiterate. That's why Swadeshi. Swaraj, be very clear. What is Swaraj? Don't equate to Swaraj with independence. Okay. Some textbooks, they are giving sweeping statements. Okay. Swaraj meant independence. They asked for British leaving. They never asked for British to leave India. Okay. They were asking for the will of the people to prevail. Okay. I am making it very clear. Okay. Okay. Goals, when objectives I go for, then I will make it more so clear. Swaraj means, my dear, just remember, will of the people. We the people of India, our will shall prevail. When Shivaji Maharaj used the word Swaraj, what was Swaraj for Shivaji? We the Marathas, okay, we are the sons of the soil. Our word shall prevail. Okay, that is Swaraj. Similarly, Indian, okay, for extremists, you please, very, very important observation is there. Swadharma and Swaraj. What is Swadharma? You fight for your culture, you fight for your identity. That is Swadharma. Dharma, duty. Swaraj, understand? extremists were entirely native. They drew their inspiration from, our native history, native culture. Okay. So Swaraj means the will of the people to prevail. It is not total independence, please understand. I'll tell you why it is not total independence later. Total boycott. Boycott everything. Everything that is foreign. Not only their education, their establishment, their goods, okay, everything must be boycotted. Okay. Then sedition. Come to fourth one. Fourth one, sedition. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sedition. What is sedition? Conspiracy. Okay. Sedition, in a derogative sense, it is anti-national. Okay. Conspiracy against the state. But for extremists, okay, sedition is a popular. It's a means to score a point. Okay. If administration remains indifferent, administration not acting promptly in solving the problem of the people have right to teach very harsh lesson. Sedition means assassination. Okay, conspiracy against the men at the helm of the affairs. Okay. Senior officers in the administration, if they are not discharging their duty, what to do? What to do? Okay. Where is the solution? Okay. If you notice, quite recently, in some of the incidents, people turned very much agitated. They are, pouring petrol and burning the officers on duty. Why this problem? Okay. It tantamounts to sedition, definitely. When frustration, reigns supreme, okay, when frustration is uncontrollable, it definitely takes the form of sedition. You will not be bothered about the consequence. Okay. For extremists, nothing wrong in going for sedition. Okay. That's why you see Tilak supported, okay, the act of Chepekar brothers, okay, Balakrishna and Damodar, when they shot dead two British officers, I reached under hand. When I go to revolutionary activities, I'll tell you that. Nothing wrong in killing the officer, indifferent officer. How to weed out these elements from the society, corrupt officers, not working, corrupt politician, okay. They are definitely, a scourge to the society, a menace to the society. You have to remove that. That's why extremists resorted to sedition. The last resort to sedition. This is all method of struggle of extremists. You mean extremists can be equated with the terrorists? No, my dear. I am sorry again and again I am using the word terrorist. It's because you see textbooks are writing like that, revolutionary terrorism like that. I told you already, okay, so I am clear about this. We should not use the word terrorist. They are our revolutionaries. They laid down their lives for the cause of our nation. Understand? Revolutionaries. Okay, now come to the point. Can we equate extremism and revolutionary, activities, revolutionaries on par with each other? Can we equate them like that? It cannot be. Extremism and revolutionary activities, terrorism, I don't use the word, revolutionary activities, they are two different ones. Where do you see differences between extremism and revolutionary? Okay. See the differences. Extremists always preferred popular means. First thing, extremists, I already told you, popular means. Right? I mean, extremists would always prefer to live within the society. They go for strikes, demonstrations, hartals within the society. You can see extremists every day in the society. He will be acting before your own eyes. Okay. Whereas revolutionaries, they go for underground activity, secret activity. Okay, underground activity, right? Okay. You can't see a revolutionary. Okay. He would always prefer to operate in secrecy. Okay. So, difference between an extremist and a revolutionary: extremist popular means, a revolutionary secret. Okay, underground activity. Second important thing is, extremists were highly, you can say conservative. Okay, they are depended more on religion. Okay, they drew their inspiration from religion. Extremists. Okay. Revolutionary more secular. Okay. For them, religion secondary. Okay. Secondary. It's not to be associated with religion. If you go to Bhagat Singh, okay, the highest manifestation of our revolutionary spirit, for Bhagat Singh, why am an atheist? Okay, you remember Bhagat Singh wrote the treatise, why am an atheist? They never bothered about religion, revolutionaries. Third one, you see extremism, it is confined, it is found in only politics. Generally, you see extremism in politics. Okay. Political activity. Okay. Its scope is very much restricted to political development. Whereas you see, revolutionary aims at change. He wants a change in, change at a, greater level, at a broader spectrum. Revolutionaries expect to change not only in politics, not only in polity, but also economy, society, culture. They want to change everywhere. Okay, revolutionaries, they want change everywhere. Right. Next, you see extremists. Confined. Their activity was very much restricted to India. You don't see extremism outside India, right? Okay. Extremism confined itself to India basically. Okay. Whereas revolutionaries, they drew their inspiration from events outside. Okay. We have revolutionary activities in London, in Paris, in Berlin, Tokyo, right? In US, San Francisco, right? So revolutionary, activities, their scope is much wider. They transcend the boundaries of India. Okay, right? These are fundamental differences between moderates, extremism and the revolutionary activities, right? So ideological differences and the method of struggle in both they differ, right? Now come to the third point. Third point is what? Objectives. What were the objectives? Okay. I told you moderates' ultimate aim was self-governance. Okay. Moderates' ultimate objective, ultimate aim, securing self-governance. Whereas extremists, okay, Swaraj. What is the difference? There's a subtle difference between the two. Okay, try to understand this. Self-governance means Indians governing themselves under the guidance of the British. Okay, get the idea? What is self-governance? Indians governing themselves. Indians governing themselves. Right. Under the guidance of the English. Right. Swaraj means, my dear, be very careful. Swaraj also means Indians governing themselves under the guidance of the British. Swaraj also means Indians governing themselves under the guidance of the British. but with freedom to differ with the English. Get the idea. But with the freedom and liberty to differ with the English. Okay. To differ with the English. Okay. Hope you are getting the difference. It's like this. For moderate, whatever the way British tell them, okay, they would follow it. For moderates, British, the architects of democracy. Okay. England, mother of parliamentary ideas and institutions. So you are experts in democracy, you British. You guide us. The way you guide us, we will conduct ourselves. Okay. We will not question you. This is, moderate self-governance. Self-governance means this. Indians governing themselves under the guidance of the English. Whereas Swaraj, you English, you guide us. Okay. You please understand this thing. The extremists were never against English guiding them. Okay. But they want the will of Indians to prevail finally. Okay. You guide us, but finally we will decide whether to follow you or not. Okay. In other words, you English teach us. Okay. Tell us what is the method. Okay. How to go about it. Finally we will decide whether we will go for it or not. This is one reason why, try to understand this. This is one reason why 1892, you remember, Native Marriage Act was passed again. Okay. It was amended. Okay. 1872, you had Native Marriage Act fixing 18 for men, 14 for women, right? But it was never implemented, right? Then again, 1892, Indian Native Marriage Act was passed. Okay. It was because of, Malbari's efforts, Behramji Malbari's efforts. Okay. Marriage age was fixed for women at the age of 12. Below 12, it shall not be acceptable, right? When this act was passed in 1892, okay, at the instance of Behramji Malbari, Tilak opposed it. Tilak himself a good reformer. Tilak was a reformer. He wanted evils to be eradicated. But why Tilak opposed it? Tilak opposed it is because, okay, here who shall decide whether child marriage is good or bad? English to decide or Indians to decide? That is the question. Okay. So, the point here is Swaraj means Indians governing themselves under the guidance of the British. Never we said in unequivocal terms that English must leave India. Get the point. Never we said in certain terms that English must leave India during either moderate age or extremist age. Okay. Swaraj does not mean total independence. Please understand. Total independence meant, in the real sense, Purna Swaraj. Got the difference? Purna Swaraj. And that was only in 1929. In 1929, we demanded for Purna Swaraj. Before 1929, there's nothing called Purna Swaraj, right? Okay. So, extremists also wanted British to guide, not to guide, but they will decide whether to follow it or not. Right? A moderate is just like a kid. Small kids, they take the helping hand of the father, right? And they start walking. Moderate is just like that. Whereas an extremist is a very well grown up boy with mustache beard, right? Father, tell me what is good and what is bad. Finally, I will decide whether to follow it or not. Okay, this is extremism. Hope you are getting it, right? So there are differences. Moderates wanted self-governance. Extremists wanted Swaraj. Clear, my dear? This where you can make out the differences in the method of struggle, objectives, and first of all, ideological differences. Right. Now come to the point. Okay. Why extremism? Where actually it all started? Reasons for extremism? Very simple. Okay. Reasons for extremism. Number one, moderatism failed. Moderatism failed. Okay. I told you, moderates, they failed to stand up to the expectations of the people. That's why the need was felt for alternative ideology and alternative leadership. Need for alternative ideology and alternative leadership. That is why extremism. Okay. Second important reason why extremism, economic distress. Okay. This is the common factor, distress. Okay. Economic distress, yes. Okay. You look at extremists and the revolutionaries. Okay. Revolutionaries, they are men of great caliber. Okay. Great, with credentials. Okay. Most of them are engineering graduates. The problem in the Indian society was, you see, I told you already, agriculture ruined. Okay. Then trade and commerce, it was completely being destroyed. Where is the source here for survival? Survival turned very difficult. Either you have to go for a coolie or you have to work in a factory as a labor, even though you are highly qualified. Understand? I told you in yesterday's class, per capita income of India 1867-68, according to Dadabhai, it was only 20 rupees. 20 rupees per annum, per capita income. Right? World's richest country at one point of time, I am telling you, my dear, okay, finally became the poorest, you understand? Okay. I told you, when India got independence, 66% of India's population below poverty line. At one point of time, world's richest country, 1757, before. Within 190 years, reduced to abject poverty. The point here is extremism, the result of the distress prevailing in the Indian economy at the time. Okay. Educated youth, no employment opportunity. Educated youth without employment, you see, it's a very dangerous phenomena. Okay. That would definitely drive them to, the extreme course of action, right? So, economic distress was equally a factor here for extremist ideas. Okay. Third important thing is Indian Renaissance. Okay. Under Indian Renaissance, you remember, okay, Dr. Ram Mohan Rai. Ram Mohan Rai gave us a new direction towards India, a progressive India, secular India, democratic India. Right? Thinkers inspiring. Right? Then you have Arya Samaj. Arya Samaj impact, it was quite profound. Okay. I already told you, Arya Samaj delivered these slogans Swadeshi. Okay. Swadeshi, Swaraj. Okay. You see this? Swadeshi, Swaraj inspiring the extremist leadership. Okay. Extremists, they were, thoroughly been inspired by Arya Samaj. Classic example, Lajpat Rai. Lajpat Rai, he founded Anglo, Dayanand, DAV schools, Dayanand Anglo-Vedic schools, right? Arya Samaj product, Lajpat Rai. Tilak was also to an extent inspired by Arya Samaj. Okay. So Arya Samaj definitely influenced extremism with the slogans Swadeshi and Swaraj. Right. Swami Vivekananda. Vivekananda time and again appealed to the youth to rededicate themselves for the cause of the nation. Okay, for Swami Vivekananda, no liberty, equality, meaningful so long as you suffer under the yoke of colonialism. Right? So long as you are suffering under colonialism, what's the point of you talking about liberty and equality? Okay. Great Swami, inspiring the people. Okay. So definitely you see here the influence of religion under reformist movements, okay, on extremist thought. Okay. Then you see repressive policies. Okay. Repressive policies. Okay. Anything to question the British, okay, means you are definitely taken to task. Right. Vernacular Press Act was passed, you remember? It's because you see press questioned Lord Lytton wasting public money and conducting Delhi Darbar. Okay. Then you see Tilak became the most vocal leader. I'll talk about Tilak later. Okay. In 1898, an act was passed. Okay. 1898, according to which even preaching nationalism made an offense. You should not talk about nationalism. It's a punishable offense. Okay. Tilak was tried on that, for criticizing the act. Understand? Repressive policies. Okay. Undermining civil rights and liberties. Okay. Nadu brothers, they without trial, on mere suspicion, Nadu brothers were sentenced. No trial, nothing. Understand? In the case assassinating Irish Dunderand, on mere suspicion. Okay. So it was the time for, reacting to this, tendencies. Okay. That's why extremism. Okay. Then you see, extremism was also the result of events taking place outside India. Right. I mean international events. What do you mean by international events here? The resurgence of Afro-Asian nationalism. Okay. International events. Resurgence of Afro-Asian nationalism. What do you mean by this? You see, under colonialism in modern times, two continents were the ones worst affected. The two continents that were worst affected under colonialism, number one, Africa. Afro means Africa. Number two, Asia. Okay. In world history, you have a chapter colonialism. And then you will understand this. Okay. The Western society which talks about human rights today, okay, one always need to remind them what they had done in Africa. Okay. They point out that Indian society practiced untouchability in the name of Hinduism. Agreed, it's a social evil, Hinduism, no reason to defend it. But what did this same Western society do in Africa? They did not treat Africans as human beings, right? Worse than animals, beings, exporting human beings as slaves. Understand? In what way they practiced apartheid? You know that apartheid in what way is less than untouchability. Okay. The point there is, you see, in Africa, early germs of nationalism started. Okay. Against, European imperialist policies and tendencies. In 1898, okay, Italy tried to occupy Ethiopia. Ethiopia or Abyssinia, you can call it as. Okay. And Abyssinia gave a befitting reply. Ethiopia offered a historic fight, okay, not allowing Italians to enter into Ethiopia. And we celebrated it. Why we celebrated Ethiopia's victory against Italy? We celebrated it, it's because it symbolically stands for, okay, a victory of nationalism against imperialism, European imperialism. Never African countries, never Asian countries go for imperialism. Please understand this. We are for peace. Here and there are instances. Okay. Here and there are instances. But by and large, which society created world wars? European society created world wars. Isn't it? Okay. So here you see 1898 African nationalism. Ethiopia defeating Italy. Very next year you see 1899 Boer Wars started in South Africa. Boers were the settlers, the Dutch settlers. Okay, Africans, okay, they claimed their lineage from different European countries. Okay, settlers versus the foreign rule. Okay, Boer Wars. Understand? That also inspired our nationalist movement, 1899. Okay. Then come to Asia. You see, in Asia, Japan, our big brother, Japan went for industrialization. Japan emerged as a major industrialized country in Asia. Japan, one country which never colonized. Please remember this. Okay. That's why Japanese resources remained within Japan. Get the point? Japan faced so many problems. Nuclear reactors exploded, atom bomb, atom bomb was dropped, right? When atom bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, Nagasaki, whole world ruled out Japan recovering. But let me tell you, my dear, Japan proved the world wrong. Okay. Within 12 years, Japan bounced back, right? Nuclear reactors exploded, tsunamis affected Japan. In spite of this, Japan, withstood the crisis. It's mainly because Japanese resources always remained within Japan. Now, how Japan inspired India's nationalism? Japan in 1898 defeated China, 1895, Shimonoseki Treaty. Japan defeating China. Same Japan made England to sign Anglo-Japanese Alliance Treaty, 1902. In 1905, Japan defeated Soviet Union. I mean, that's not Soviet Union. Japan defeated Russia. Understand? This defeat of, Japan defeating Russia in 1905. Okay, it had profound impact on India's nationalism. Can you believe it if I say that there are Indian families who named their children after the Japanese commanders Togo and Nagi? Okay. Such was the impact of Japan. Japan's victory on Russia. Symbolically, it's just the same. Russia's imperialism, okay, effectively being checkmated by Japan. Right. This apart, there are secret societies for, okay, the Sun Society, Black Dragon Society. Understand? In China, Japan, secret societies were formed against Europeans, right? Against Europeans. Formation of these secret societies also inspired India's nationalist movement, particularly extremist and revolutionary activities. When I go to revolutionary activities, a separate chapter, I will make you more to understand this. So, extremism was the result of all these factors, right? Now come to the point, how to understand evolution of extremism. Okay. Extremism developed, at two phases. Okay. It's outside Congress party and inside Congress party. Okay. Aurobindo, of course, Aurobindo joined Congress party later. Okay. But in the beginning, it was Aurobindo and his comrades, his brother and their close associates. Okay. Aurobindo Ghosh, Barindra Kumar Ghosh, okay, they are brothers, right? Aurobindo, Prafulla Chake, Parmotra Mitra, Khudiram Bose, okay, they are all revolutionaries, right? Aurobindo was an extremist. Okay, of course, he was also involved in revolutionary activities. Okay. Point here is extremism first started outside Congress party with Aurobindo, undoubtedly. Okay. Aurobindo thoroughly disappointed with the moderate method of struggle. Aurobindo wrote, a treatise, okay, New Lamps for the World. Very important. Lamp, L-A-M-P-S. Question in UPSC on this. New lamps for the world. For the O-L-D, world. This was the, this is a series of articles. New lamps for the world. Okay. By Aurobindo, criticizing moderate method of struggle. Right. Then Aurobindo also wrote a series of articles in Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's, journal, Bangadarshan. You remember I told you in yesterday's class, Bangadarshan, journal founded by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. In that journal, Aurobindo wrote a series of articles, okay, criticizing moderate method of struggle as political mendicancy. Political mendicancy. Mendicancy means begging. You understand? Art of begging. For Aurobindo, our moderate leaders were expert beggars. You moderates, you are expert beggars. How long you beg the British? Understand? This is the criticism of Aurobindo. Okay. Aurobindo thoroughly disappointed with moderate method, criticizing moderate method, political mendicancy in the journal of Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, Bangadarshan. Right. Then Aurobindo, you see, very important, appealed to the emotional aspects of India's nationalism. Okay. Aurobindo appealed to the emotional aspects of India's nationalism, projecting India, Mother India. See this. Okay. Get to one point very clear. Bharat Mata, Mother India, okay, for the first time appeared in the form of painting. Get the point very clear. Who was the first to project India as Mother India? Bharat Mata. It was this. Okay. Get to one point very clear. Bharat Mata, Mother India, okay, for the first time appeared in the form of painting. Get the point very clear. Who was the first to project India as Mother India? Bharat Mata. It was, okay, Abanindranath Tagore. Okay. Abanindranath Tagore, okay, a painter, modern painter. Okay. When I go to painting, a part of, Vande Mataram movement. Okay. Abanindranath Tagore, okay, great painter, revivalist painting, taking the native themes. He was the first to project India, Mother India, Bharat Mata, in his paintings. You must have seen one, in our flag, in India political map, you see one woman carrying the flag. We call her Mata, our mother, Mother India. Okay. Aurobindo appealed very emotionally to the national, nationalist feelings, emotional nationalism, projecting India as Mother India. Okay. In politics, this concept of Mother India started with Aurobindo. Politics, in the freedom struggle, right? Who projected India as a Mother India for the first time means in the painting it started by Abanindranath Tagore. Get this. Okay. So you see, extremist ideas first started outside Congress party with Aurobindo Ghosh. Okay. Aurobindo's ideas well supported by other great Bengali intellectuals. Okay. Other great Bengali intellectuals and even Marathi intellectuals. Right. They are also got attracted towards extremist ideas. Okay. Here you see Sharat Chandra Chatterjee. Sharat Chandra Chatterjee he wrote the novel Pattar Dabi. Pattar Dabi. Okay. This novel was banned by the British for its revolutionary ideas. Okay. Just as that Vishnu Shastri Chiplunkar. Okay. Chiplunkar, remember I told you while discussing reformists, Chiplunkar founded Nibandhamala. In this Nibandhamala, he wrote a series of poems, exhorting, glorifying extremism. Chiplunkar. Then you have, Ashwini Kumar Datta, Rajnarayan Bose. Okay. They are all extremists, Bengali extremists, right? So you see, extremism, it started first outside the Congress party, right? Now come to extremism within Congress party. Extremism within Congress party, it all started with, undoubtedly, Balagangadhar Tilak. Okay. Tilak, you see, was the most vocal and dynamic leader. Okay. Most vocal and dynamic leader, okay, in the early part of our nationalist movement. Okay. He was the first to go for, okay, imprisonment, challenging and criticizing the British at every point. Right. Where actually you see Tilak, okay, thoroughly disappointed with Congress party, moderate method of struggle and all that. You see, 1893, way back 1893, Tilak founded Ganesh Festival Committees. Okay. Tilak was for bringing people into the mainstream of the struggle. Right. 1893, Tilak started Ganpati Festival Committees. Right. Even before that, I told you already, 1891, Age of Consent Bill, Tilak opposed it. Right. During 1893-94, okay, Tilak, prepared the ground for Shivaji Festival Committees. By 1895, Tilak founded Shivaji Festival Committees. Okay. This again you see to bring more people into the mainstream of the struggle. Here, Tilak is invoking the legacy of Shivaji Maharaj, going back to the past culture glory. Right. Then you see, there was a split in Pune Sarvajanik Sabha. Basically, the problem here, Tilak was not happy with Congress party means there are serious differences between Tilak and Gokhale. Okay. For establishing control over Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, okay, in 1895, okay, Tilak and his followers, they captured power. Mark this, very important. They captured power in Pune Sarvajanik Sabha. Okay. I mean, Gokhale and his followers, they were made to leave Pune Sarvajanik Sabha. That made Gokhale to found Dakkan Sabha in 1896. This is the point where actually differences started between Tilak and Gokhale. Gokhale became the leader of moderates. Tilak was the ardent follower of extremist ideas. Where differences started between the two, both belonged to Pune, right? Okay. Both entered politics at a time. But you see differences here with regarding the question of controlling Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, right? Tilak differed with Gokhale. Gokhale left Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, founded Dakkan Sabha, right? Then you see in 1897, Tilak was arrested on the charge of spreading hatred and disaffection against the government. Understand? He wrote a series of articles in his journals. You know, Tilak founded the journals Maratha in English, Kesari in Marathi. Okay. He wrote series of, articles criticizing the British. In 1897, he was arrested. Right. Then you see, in 1893, 1900, okay. Then you also see that Tilak gave a open call for the peasantry not to pay taxes during the famine conditions 1897-98. Okay. Tilak even criticized the act I told you, which made preaching nationalism an offense. Right. So Tilak was definitely creating lot of restlessness within the Congress party, okay, for which you call Tilak father of, Indian unrest, okay, father of Indian unrest. Question in UPSC: who called Tilak father of Indian unrest? It was Valentine Chirol. Valentine Chirol called Tilak father of Indian unrest. Okay. That's a question in UPSC, better you note down. Valentine Chirol. Valentine Chirol, Chirol. Chirol called Tilak father of Indian unrest. So Tilak was definitely restless. He had no faith in the moderate method of struggle. Right. Then you see Tilak joined by Lala Lajpat Rai. I told you already, Lajpat Rai, an Arya Samajist, right, who staunchly believed in Swadeshi, Swaraj and all that. Okay. Where do you see extremist ideas within Lala Lajpat Rai? Lajpat Rai, he wrote Unhappy India. See this. Unhappy India. Okay. Definitely Lajpat Rai not happy with the British policies. Unhappy India. Right. Lajpat Rai, Tilak, both were joined by Bipin Chandra. Bipin Chandra, you see, up to 1902, 1902, Bipin Chandra was a moderate. Okay. Then you see policies of the British thoroughly discouraging, and he was more so disappointed. Now you see Bipin Chandra, an extremist. Okay. Bipin Chandra founded the journals Bengali Opinion. The journal Bengali Opinion. And New India. Okay. These were the journals of Bipin Chandra. There are two New Indias, one by Madam Annie Besant also later. I discussed that later. Okay. So you see, extremist group within the Congress party, a Lal Bal Pal group was formed. They were definitely not happy with moderate method of struggle. Fine. This is all about extremism, how it all started in Indian politics. Right. Now, extremist politics. Extremist politics means it all started with Lord Curzon. Curzon, I told you, okay. Generally, we take Curzon as a person responsible for partition of Bengal, a villain in the Indian freedom struggle, right? But you don't see the positive side of Curzon. Okay. Very important. Positive side of Curzon is equally important. Okay. Why? Because there's a question in UPSC. What was the question? All said and done, they are striking similarities. Similarities between Curzon and Nehru. Discuss. Okay, that is the question in UPSC, Gender Studies. There are striking similarities between Karjan and Nehru. See, Nehru, our beloved Congress party leader, Prime Minister of India, our Chacha. How are you equating Nehru with Karjan? That particular year when this question was asked, you see, our candidate from Andhra Pradesh, Muchala Raju was our topper. This Raju also found it difficult to answer this question, right? Okay. How to compare Karjan with Nehru? Okay. See, there are striking similarities between the two. Okay. Where do you see similarities? Karjan, thoroughly fascinated by India's cultural glory. Of all the Governor Generals, if we have to answer one question, the Governor General who had thorough understanding about Indian society, it was Karjan. Okay, mark it, very important. Karjan was the Governor General who had thorough understanding about Indian society, Indian culture. For that matter, let me tell you, he was thoroughly been fascinated by India's cultural glory. Can you believe it? Karjan would not go to bed without reading Kautilya's Arthashastra. Okay. For Karjan, India, a university where no one can get graduated in lifetime. Okay. Okay. Where no one can get graduated in lifetime. Right. Means this life is not enough to understand India for Karjan. Okay. Karjan, responsible for Indian Monuments Preservation Act. You remember, while discussing ancient India, I told you, Indian Monuments Preservation Act 1904, preserving the monuments. Okay. And it's because of that act, Archaeology Department was founded. Okay. So here you see, Karjan very much, inspired by India's cultural glory. Okay, he was a man for preserving the past glory. With that, you see, 1904 Indian Monuments Preservation Act, Archaeology Department was founded. Okay. Then Karjan, okay, founded, at that time, 12 departments. 12 departments giving better administration for India. Okay. Where do you see this? Okay. You see, police reforms started by Karjan. Okay. Karjan in 1902 appointed Andrew Fraser Committee. Okay. Karjan in 1902 appointed Andrew, A-N-D-R-E-W, Fraser, F-R-A-Z-E-R, Andrew Fraser Committee, okay, on police reforms. Okay. There's a separate, department for police, central department for criminal intelligence. It all started with Karjan. Then I told you educational reforms, right? Indian Universities Act 1904, Thomas Rayleigh Committee, remember? Okay. I told you just, 5-10 minutes ago. Then you see, of all the Governor Generals, he went for maximum railway lines. Okay. More mileage of railway lines than any other Governor General. It started during the times of Karjan. Then you see Karjan also appointed Kitchener Committee. Okay, K-I-T, spelling K-I-T-C-H-E-N-E-R. Okay, Lord Kitchener Committee. Kitchener was the commander-in-chief of the British Army at that time. Okay. For military reforms or army reforms, Karjan appointed Kitchener Committee. Okay. Then you see, Karjan also constituted a Famine Commission headed by Anthony MacDonald. Okay. Famine Commission. Famine Commission was founded by Karjan under the chairmanship of Anthony, A-N-T-H-O-N-Y, Anthony MacDonell, M-A-C, spelling M-A-C-D-O-N-N-E-L-L, MacDonell. Okay. Then you see Karjan's greatest, I should say, reforms, Irrigation Commission. Okay. He was the one who founded Irrigation Commission headed by Sir Colin Scott. Colin, C-O-L-I-N, Colin Scott, S-C-O-T-T. Karjan founded Sir Colin Scott Commission. Okay. Sir Colin Scott, Moncrief, that is the full name. Generally, it is called Colin Scott Commission, for promoting irrigation systems in India. Okay, you know, for Karjan, India's strength lies in agriculture, right? For that, he founded Agriculture Research Institute, POSA, Agriculture Research Institute, POSA. Look at this. Which Governor General had done these many things? Okay. Karjan always wanted efficiency. Okay. Right. He was for efficiency. Right. So remember, Karjan's positive contribution was there for Indian society. I already told you, he was the one who founded engineering colleges. Right. Now you can draw comparison between Karjan and Nehru. Okay. Like Karjan, Nehru was a great, admirer of India's past culture glory. Right. Nehru wrote, the discovery of India, the glimpses of world history, right? Particularly discovery of India, where he showered his admiration for India's past culture glory, right? This is number one. Okay. Next, number two, as Karjan understood the importance of agriculture for India, Karjan, I said, founded the Agriculture Research Institute, POSA. Nehru gave agriculture first priority. Remember, first Finance Commission, first, Planning Commission, first 5-year plan. We gave importance for agriculture, right? Just as that, Nehru also, like Karjan, gave equal importance for technical education, right? Industries. Okay, second 5-year plan, we have given it for industry. So if you draw like this, an analogy, comparative study, you can construct the answer between the two. Remember, if you are still under the impression that to study, by studying very well, we can perform very well in the exam, means it's not right. Study is very important. At the same time, you should also know how to mold the, information. You have information. How to mold this information as per the question given, that is equally important. Right? By simply studying, don't be under the impression that we are going to perform very well in the exam. That's why you see at the mains level, even 30% marks. If you are sure of getting 37, 38, there is every possibility of getting Viva call. Means the standard has come down drastically. Okay. We are interested in only facts. Okay. And we are interested in giving only stereotyped answers. We don't want to, divert ourselves. We don't want to discuss the issue in a different manner. Okay. Creative talents are coming down, you see. So Karjan had done definitely service to India. Okay. Then where things went wrong, I told you already. In spite of doing a good service for India, Karjan, you see, unfortunately could not see positive contribution from India. In this sense, what the universities that were founded, engineering colleges founded, they became the breeding points. They became the main centers for terrorist activities, revolutionary activities, right? Within the Congress party, extremism developed, secret societies were formed. This was something that Karjan was never ready to accept. That's why Karjan, entirely a different Karjan. There's no more the Karjan with the soft corner for Indian society. Now, how to deal with this situation? Karjan came out with a sinister design a very dangerous plan. The plan was to divide Bengal. Okay. If you remember, I told you, Bengal, the biggest province, right? Bengal meant what? Today's Bangladesh, Assam, proper West Bengal, right? Bihar, Odisha, all put together Bengal. Okay. Under the Mughals, Bengal the richest, I said. Under the British, Bengal the biggest. Okay. Bengal the biggest. Okay. With, more than 5 states. Okay. Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, Assam, right? And of course East Bengal and all that. Put it together. Okay. It's the biggest province. Okay. Now Karjan wanted to divide Bengal. Okay. Why partition of Bengal? He published his idea, he made it public. Way back 1903, partition of Bengal was, made public. The idea was made public. In 1904, Karjan toured East Bengal. Okay, he toured East Bengal. Okay, there he convinced the Muslim leadership that partition of Bengal would secure better the interests of the Muslims. If you partition Bengal into East Bengal, West Bengal, okay, then you see East Bengal means it would be completely a Muslim dominated province. A Muslim dominated province means more advantage for Muslims. Karjan convinced Muslims that way in 1904. Okay, actually Muslims never asked for this. This is entirely idea of Karjan only. Convinced the Muslims. He had, he had thrust his ideas upon the Muslim community. Then 1905, July 4th, he made it official. Okay, announced it. And partition of Bengal would come into force from October 16, 1905. Announcement, official announcement, 1905, July 4th. Announcement. Okay, plan, 1903. Karjan, okay, briefing this to the Muslim leadership, 1904. Announcement, 1905, July 4th. Okay, came into force. Okay, came into force October 16, 1905. Okay. Now, what are the reasons for partition? Okay. Reasons for partition, you see, administrative convenience. It's getting difficult to administer Bengal. Already, you see, by 1875, they divided Bengal and Assam. Assam was divided. Okay. Assam was, Bengal was partitioned, Assam was, bifurcated, right? Likewise now Bengal. Okay. They wanted to divide Bengal for administrative convenience. I am telling you the reasons, actual reasons quoted by Karjan. Actual reasons quoted by Karjan, number 1, administrative convenience. Okay. You can't say no to it. Bengal, the biggest province. Right. Second reason he quoted was that the minority Muslims to get, due representation. Okay. It's a fact that Muslims were not given, not given. They had no proper representation. Okay. It's a fact. Muslims, the problem is, you see, they lagged behind. Problem is, you can't blame anyone. Muslims themselves were to be blamed for this. They never accepted education. That's the problem. They lagged behind. All the administrative posts, whatever the posts that were for Indians, they were manned by the Bengali Babus, Bengali Brahmins. In the United Bengal, Muslims were not getting due representation. That's one reason. So to give underrepresented their due representation. To give due representation for the underrepresented, partition of Bengal unavoidable. This is the second reason. Third reason why partition of Bengal. Revolutionary activities were spreading from West Bengal to East Bengal. You see, by 1902, 1902, okay, Anshiran Samiti was founded. Okay. When I go to revolutionary activities, I tell you, Anushilan Samiti, first revolutionary organization in Bengal. Okay. Anushilan Samiti, founded by Barindra Kumar, Bhupendranath Datta, Prafulla Chake, Khudiram Bose, Parmottara Mitra. Okay. Even Arabindo closely connected with this. Right. Anushilan Samiti. Anushilan Samiti. Right. In West Bengal. Same year 1902, okay, the branch of Anshiran Samiti was founded in Dhaka. Dhaka by Pulindas, Pulin, P-U-L-I-N, Pulindas, Anshiran Samiti of Dhaka. When I go to revolutionary activities, I'll tell you all this. Now kindly answer this question. Revolutionary activities were spreading from West Bengal to East Bengal or East Bengal to West Bengal? Bengal had become a hot web of political activity. West Bengal. Hot web of political activity, either for Congress leadership, or for moderate extremist leadership, or for revolutionary activities. Okay. That's why it is said a united Bengal is a very dangerous entity. United Bengal is a very powerful force. So you have to divide Bengal now. Okay. These are the actual reasons quoted by Karjan. Actual reasons, number one, administrative convenience. Number two, to give due representation for the underrepresented. Number three, to stop the partition, to stop the revolutionary activities spreading from West Bengal to East Bengal. These reasons were definitely convincing. Understand? That's why when Karjan announced, there was no immediate reaction from Congress party. Okay. Reaction was much later. Okay. Then where the problem started, the real reasons were different. What were the real reasons? Okay. The real reasons in the partition of Bengal was to reduce the domination of the Bengali. Okay. To reduce the domination of Bengali in Bengal. To make Bengali a minority in East Bengal and also in West Bengal. Okay. In making Bengali a minority, to be very specific, the targeted group, Bengali Brahmins. Okay. All these great nationalist leaders were, Brahmins, right? For Karjan, they were creating the problem. So, how to make a Bengali minority? Okay, in both East Bengal and West Bengal. Okay, that is why partition. Okay, to divide Bengal on communal grounds and regional grounds, communal grounds and linguistic grounds. Okay, by dividing Bengal on communal and linguistic grounds, Karjan wanted Bengal, in Bengal, Bengali to be made a minority. That is the real motive. Okay. You see, here it's like this. Okay. In Bengal, you have West Bengal, you see by partition, 54 million. 18 million Bengalis, 36 million Biharis and Orias. So here in West Bengal, they made Bengali a minority. 18 million Bengalis. The remaining were 36 million. These 36 million in West Bengal, Bihari and Odia and Hindi speaking people. So in West Bengal, after the partition, Bengalis became minority. Bengalis became minority against Hindi speaking Bihari, Odia, who constituted 36 million. Bengalis were 18 million. Go to East Bengal. In East Bengal, the total population was 31 million. Of that 31 million, 12 Hindus. Okay. 12 to 13 million Hindus, okay, 19 Muslim. Okay. There again, as a Hindu, Bengali became minority. Okay. So on communal grounds, okay, communal grounds in East Bengal, Bengali became minority. I mean Bengali Brahmins, Bengali Hindus. Then in West Bengal, Bengalis became a minority on linguistic grounds against Hindi speaking, non-Bengali, Bihari and Odia. Hope this is clear. Altogether, nearly 80 million Bengal population divided on regional grounds, communal grounds and linguistic grounds. Okay. So finally the point is to make a Bengali a minority in Bengal itself. That is the real motive. Okay. Number one. Second important thing is what I told you, Kolkata is capital city for Indian politics. Karjan, by partitioning Bengal, wanted to bring an alternative center for Indian politics. That alternative center, Dhaka, DACC, Dhaka. Why not Dhaka? Against Kolkata. Third thing, if you encourage Muslim and provide them a separate Bengal, okay, East Bengal, you can use Muslims against the Hindu. I mean, you can revive the policy divide and rule, using them, using Muslim against the Hindu. Okay. These are all the real motives of Karjan in partition. When he announced his decision, okay, I told you first the reasons were convinced, but later you see Congress party understood the real motives of Karjan. Okay. The day when partition came into effect, I told you October 16, okay, 1905. Okay. That was the time the movement, Vande Mataram movement, gained popular. Okay. Gained popular in sense, it gained momentum. Okay. Before that, okay, you have movement. I am not telling you it's not there. Okay. Before that, you have Vande Mataram movement also started. Okay. In the town hall, Kolkata, okay, Surendranath Banerjee, moderate leaders, Surendranath Banerjee, Ananda Mohan Bose, Congress party moderate leaders were also connected closely with the Vande Mataram movement, definitely. Okay. Then you see, it became a powerful movement, as I told you. Okay. From October, 1905. Okay. The day was declared as a day of national mourning throughout the Bengal. Right. The day is the Dasra festival season. Remember October 16 means Dasra festival season. 1905. Okay, the entire Bengal mourn on the decision of partition. Okay. Partition in Bengal. Right. For that, as I told you, okay, this was announced, okay, Swadeshi movement, a movement in support of partition Bengal was announced on August 7th, 1905 at Town Hall, Kolkata. Okay. But from October 16, the movement started. Now, what was the course of the movement? October 16, the day when this movement started, okay, Partition of Bengal movement started, Bipin Chandra, okay, he was the first, okay, to go for touring India. That particular day, October 16, 1905, Bipin Chandra started Durga Pujas in Kolkata. At Nova Kali also, okay, This how the movement took. Okay, took momentum. It gained momentum. Under moderate leaders Anand Mohan and Surendranath Banerjee, the movement was not so effective because you see they continued to entertain the idea why not we impress impress upon the British with representations and all that. They failed to understand people's mood. People wanted a movement, you understand. And extremists now took the opportunity. Under the extremist leader, first to begin with, Bipin Chandra. Remember one thing, there is a question. Who was the first Indian leader to go for touring India in Indian politics? Touring India extensively, you see Gandhi. Right. Before Gandhi, it was Bipin Chandra. Bipin Chandra Pal touring British India. Okay. Educating the people, mobilizing the people for the cause of anti-partition movement. I mean Swadeshi movement. Or you call it as Vande Mataram movement. So Vande Mataram movement started in protest against the decision of partition of Bengal. Right. The slogans, Swadeshi, Swaraj and total boycott. Okay. Because you see, I told you, from moderate, the movement passed on into the hands of the extremists with Bipin Chandra. Okay. The song Vande Mataram, remember, it is derived from the novel Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's novel Anandamat. Okay. Novel Anandamat. Okay. In this novel Anandamat, okay, you have a character, okay, by name Bhav Sagar. Okay, very important. Bhav Sagar, the hero of the novel. This character is the hero of the novel Anandamat. Okay. This character Bhav Sagar in the novel Anandamat, he recites the song Vande Mataram. He recites the song Vande Mataram, right? Okay. So this song became the gospel of the movement. Okay, it's the song that inspired the movement, Vande Mataram movement. The slogans I told you, it's all because of extremist movement, extremist leadership. Slogans were Swadeshi, okay, Swadeshi, Swaraj, okay, and total boycott. Okay, total boycott. Right. Under Swadeshi, you see, okay, go for native education. Part of Vande Mataram movement, promoting native education. What is native education? Native education with native culture, native values, right? Native values, okay, native culture, okay. Under that, okay, first you see here, you find, the role of, okay, Rabindranath Tagore quite prominently. Okay. Rabindranath Tagore, if at all you see his role in Vande Mataram movement, in active role in freedom struggle, it is Vande Mataram movement. In Vande Mataram movement, Rabindranath Tagore founded Shantiniketan. Then you see Satish Mukherjee, he founded Dawn Society. Dawn Society for native education. Native education. Native education means education with native values. Right. Then you see Swaraj, okay, the will of the people to prevail. Total boycott. This was the slogan, okay, given by K.K. Mitra, Krishnakant Mitra. He was the first to give the slogan, total boycott, in his journal Sanjeevani. He founded the journal Sanjeevani. There you see this slogan, okay, total boycott was given. Right. Fine. Other developments here, okay. Under during the Vande Mataram movement, I said Rabindranath Tagore played a very important role, most dynamic role, I should say. Tagore, along with Navakrishna Chakrabarti, Rabindranath Tagore, along with Navakrishna Chakrabarti. Navakrishna Chakrabarti composed nationalist songs, patriotic songs. Okay. Tagore also gave a call for Hindu-Muslim unity, observing Rakhi Bandhan. Tagore gave a call for Rakhi Bandhan, observing Hindu-Muslim unity. Then Rabindranath Tagore also gave, he wrote a series of articles under the title Atma Shakti. Title Atma Shakti, series of articles. Okay. So you see Tagore's role quite prominent here. Then Tagore also composed the popular song, Sonar Amar Bangla, that had become the Amar Sonar Bangla. Tagore composed this song Amar, A-M-A, Sonar Bangla, Amar Sonar Banga. That is the popular song composed, right, which had become the national song of Bangladesh, today's national anthem of Bangladesh, composed by Rabindranath Tagore. Okay. So you see, Swadeshi, Swaraj, total boycott, they became the main slogans of the movement, right? Then you see the movement, it became quite popular in Pune under Tilak. Tilak made it popular in Pune with his Shivaji and Ganesh Maharaj festival committees. Right. In Punjab and northwestern frontiers, you see Ajit Singh. Ajit Singh, the uncle of Bhagat Singh, right, and Lala Lajpat Rai. They made it popular. In Delhi, Sir Mirza Haider, Sir Mirza, M-I-R-Z-A, Haider, he made it popular. They are all the leaders connected with Vande Mataram movement in different parts. In Madras, you see, South India, Chennai, you have Chidambaram Pillai. In Chennai, Chidambaram Pillai, the most popular leader during Vande Mataram movement. Then you see, this is how the movement was going on. When movement was going on, now you see differences started between moderates and the extremists. Why the differences between moderates and the extremists? Moderates and the extremists, the differences. Moderates wanted the movement to be confined only to Bengal, whereas extremists, they wanted the movement to be extended. Extended not only to Bengal, but to entire British India. That is the first point of difference. Second point of difference, it also started. You also better note another great leader of Vande Mataram movement, Ashwini Kumar Datta. Ashwini Kumar Datta, you see, he founded Swadesh Bandhav Samiti. Swadesh Bandhav Samiti. Note down, Ashwini Kumar Datta, very important, founded. Ashwini Kumar Datta, I told you, extremist, right? Ashwini Kumar Datta founded Swadeshi Bandhav. Swadeshi Bandhav Samiti. part of the movement, you see, culture was laid lot of importance. Okay. Mukunda Das in Bengal, Mukunda Das, okay, he promoted the native culture of Bengal. Bengal ballad songs, folk songs, they are all being brought into the main picture. Right. I told you, Abanindranath Tagore, right? Under Swadeshi, Abanindranath Tagore, okay, is the Indian Society of Oriental Art. Okay. Abanindranath Tagore founded Indian Society of Oriental Art. Remember Abanindranath Tagore? I told you he was the first to draw the painting Bharat Mata. Right? He founded, okay, the Indian Society of Oriental Art. The Indian Society of Oriental Art. Right. Giving Swadeshi values, I mean native art traditions. Okay. Right. So you see, better you remember this under, Swadeshi, concept of Swadeshi. Right. Then I told you, when the movement was gaining momentum, okay, differences started between moderates and the extremists. You see, where all this started, first it go to 1905. Okay. 1905, Varanasi session was started. In the Varanasi session of INC, okay, Varanasi session of Indian National Congress, this session was presided over by a Gokhale, Gopala Krishna Gokhale. Gokhale, moderate leader. Right. Gokhale supported the idea of Swadeshi. Okay. But note down that in the Varanasi session of INC 1905, Gokhale president, the idea of Swadeshi was accepted. Right. Differences started in 1906. 1906 Kolkata session. Okay. Why the differences? This was what I was explaining. And in the meanwhile, again, I got, certain developments, recollected. That's why I went to Abanindranath Tagore and, Das and others, right? So in 1906 Kolkata session, differences started. Why the differences? I told you, moderates wanted the movement to be confined to Bengal. Extremists wanted it to be extended to India, all over British India. That's the first point of difference. Second point is, you see, with the Vande Mataram movement, okay, extremists became very powerful, popular, quite popular. Okay, they became majority within Congress party. Now this majority extremists dominating Congress party, they wanted Tilak to be the president of the 1906, Kolkata session. Okay. Problem, you see, for extremists, anybody, for moderates, anybody but Tilak, anybody except Tilak. Okay. For the first time, differences started in the 1906 session, okay, between moderates and extremists on the question of, number one, whether to make it, okay, a movement for British India or movement only for Bengal. Next, number two, okay, who shall be the president? Okay, Tilak, extremists wanted Tilak, whereas moderates opposed the candidature of Tilak. Okay. Then you see a compromise was worked out. Okay. A compromise worked out. As for that compromise, okay, Dadabhai Nauroji emerged as the presidential candidate. Presidential candidate, Dadabhai Nauroji. Okay. But all said and done, it was a victory for extremism. Okay. What was a victory for extremism? 1906 Kolkata session, a victory for extremism. Why it was a victory for extremism? I tell you the reasons. Number one, extremist slogans. Swadeshi, okay, right? Swaraj, and total boycott. Okay. These three slogans were accepted by the Congress party for the first time. Understand? These were actually the slogans of extremists. It is that extremists constituted majority, their slogans were accepted. Right? Congress party in principle accepted these slogans. Number one. Next, number two, okay, Congress party openly condemned the decision of Governor General, partitioning Bengal. Right? Next, number three, very important. Okay. Tilak, I told you, presidential candidate, right? Tilak, candidate of the extremists. Okay. He was made chairman of the reception committee. Chairman of the reception committee. Reception committee. Chairman of the reception committee means, as per the constitution of the Congress party, he would be the president for the next session. Okay. That means Tilak was given the impression that he would be made president for the next session. Okay. So this way you see Kolkata session 1906, definitely a victory for extremism. Okay. Right. So you see, while the movement was going on at the same time, okay, in 1906 December, okay, All India Muslim League was, you see, the first communal party for the Muslims. All India Muslim League, very important. This was formed at Dhaka. Dhaka by Nawab Salimullah. Nawab of Dhaka. Salimullah. Nawab of Dhaka, Salimullah, and Prince Aga Khan. Aga Khan, All India Muslim League was formed. You see, this is the culmination of what you call it as moderate communalism. Okay. I will explain later. You see, just as you have three stages of colonialism, in modern India, if you remember, I told you, there are three stages of colonialism. Mercantile capitalism, industrial capitalism, financial capitalism, right? Likewise, you see, moderate colonialism, three stages of colonialism. You have three stages of communalism. Okay. Communalism, organizing community on the basis of religion, right? Communalism goes definitely with the hatred and contempt for, one community or the other, right? This, it started in Indian freedom struggle under three different stages. Moderate communalism. Moderate communalism had seen its highest stage with the formation of All India Muslim League. Okay. Why you call it moderate communism? In this stage, minority community definitely will not go for clash with majority community. Okay. Minority community would try its best to secure its interests without giving any scope for clash with the majority community. That's what Muslim League said. When it was formed in 1906, Muslim League made it quite clear that they were not for a clash with majority Hindu, not going for a clash with majority Hindu, how to secure their interests. That is the main concern of the Muslim League. This is what is minority communism. I mean moderate communism. This will become extreme communism. Extreme communism means one community blaming the other. responsible for its backwardness. Violent communalism means both clash. You will understand how it all happened in the next chapters. So you see, part of Vande Matra movement, Swadeshi movement, you had All India Muslim League formed in 1906. Unfortunately, communal politics started. Okay. Whether it is moderate or extreme violent, communalism in any form, it's very dangerous. The beginnings started with Vande Mataram movement. Right. Then what happened? The way that movement was going on, I told you there were serious differences within the moderates and extremists. Now these differences surfaced again in 1907 Surat session. Actually, this session was to have been, held in Pune, right? But you remember I told you there is a convention, there is a tradition there in the Congress party. The president shall not be a local candidate. Okay. Tilak hails from Pune. He will be a local candidate. That's why you see the venue was shifted to Surat, right? In 1907, Surat session was held. Okay. It was in this Surat session, Congress party was divided for the first time. First split. Okay. Why the split? First difference. Difference and the split was on the question, who shall be the president? Okay. If you remember, I told you Kolkata session 1906 clearly said Tilak would be the president. Okay, why? Because Tilak is chairman of the reception committee. I said Constitution of the Congress party clearly reads chairman of the reception committee for the ongoing session shall be the president for next session. Okay. So going by that, for the Surat session 1907, obviously Tilak the candidate, president, right? Whereas when Surat session started, moderates came out with a new proposal that the president shall be elected. Moderates wanted election for the post of the president of the Congress party. Moderates announced their candidate Resh Bihari Ghosh. Resh Bihari Ghosh, Ghosh or Ghosh, Ghosh. Either way. Anyway, either way you can write it. Resh Bihari Ghosh. Okay. You have two Resh Biharis again. Please remember. One Resh Bihari, Congress moderate leader, president for the Surat session. Another Resh Bihari, a revolutionary. Okay. When I go to revolutionary activities, I will discuss. Delhi conspiracy case, Indian independence, league and all that, he has connected. Okay. A revolutionary. So this moderate leader, Resh Bihari, the candidate of the moderates against Tilak. Okay. Finally, election was held. Okay. Election was held, all malpractices took place. Unfortunately, Tilak, the majority candidate, extremist candidate, there's no chance of Tilak being defeated, right? But Tilak was defeated. Okay. That's why I'm telling you that, unhealthy developments had taken place in Indian political system. Okay. We are not blaming one party or one person for that. It all started that way. Tilak was defeated. And Resh Bihari won the election. Tilak accepted the defeat with grace. Understand? But the followers of Tilak, you understand, particularly for Tilak, Imam Chotabai, his right hand in Indian politics. Remember, Tilak was highly respected by Muslims, my dear. Right? The followers of Tilak, okay, they created disturbances in the proceedings of the Surat session. Okay. Disturbances. Okay. They had gone to the extent of, exchanging blows with each other. Moderates, extremists clashed violently in the Surat session after the election. Right. Finally, police had to interfere, lathi charge and all that. Surat session ended up in a pandemonium. Right. as Karjan expected. You see, at one point of time, Karjan, by dividing partition of Bengal, I told you his real intentions. By dividing partition of Bengal, Karjan wanted to create a split in the Congress party between moderates and extremists. And Karjan went on record saying that he wanted to see Congress party given a decent burial, okay, at the earliest. Okay. Now you see what happened. As planned by Karjan, with the moment you see differences surfaced between the two. Okay. And in 1907 Surat session, okay, extremists were expelled from the Congress party. Okay. Moderates expelled extremists. Okay. Remember, this is a very important development. First split. Now the extremists that were expelled from the Congress party, they founded Liberal Party, very important. Liberal Party, extremists expelled, founded Liberal Party, and they called themselves neo-nationalists. That's the question in UPSC. Who were the neo-nationalists? Okay. Neo-nationalist means the expelled extremists from the Congress party. Unfortunate development. Okay. This was what actually English were waiting for. Okay. Now extremist leaders who created a problem, no more members of the Congress party. They are thrown out of the Congress party. Great opportunity for English now. Okay. That's why you see what happened. First they targeted Tilak, because Tilak was the most vocal leader. Okay. Under the charges of inciting. Okay. Inciting. Why? Because you see Tilak supported Prafulla Chake and Khudiram Bose at their attack. They made an attack. Khudiram Bose and Prafulla Chake, they made an attack on the life of the district magistrate of Muzaffarpur, King's Fort. When I go to revolution activities, I'll tell you again. In a mistaken identity, you see, they hurled a bomb, thinking that in that procession, in that vehicle being carried, they thought that Kingsford was, their inmate of that vehicle. But that attempt ended up with the death of two British women. Understand? In a mistaken identity, the bomb was thrown there, and that ended up with the killing of two innocent women. Here, Tilak openly supported the act of the two. Okay? So, for inciting disaffection, for promoting hatred against the state, number one charge. Secondly, the other charge was what? The charges leveled against Tilak, disturbing the public order. Okay? What do you mean by disturbing public order? I told you already. Tilak started conducting Shivaji festival, Ganesh festivals and all that. Okay. For English, that definitely disturbed public order. Okay. On these charges, the trial of Tilak started. Okay. I tell you a very interesting thing. Here Tilak was well defended by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. You see this? Okay. Jinnah in Indian politics. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, brilliant criminal lawyer. He defended Tilak. Okay. But you see, English, they made up their mind to send Tilak away. That's why Tilak was sentenced for 6 years imprisonment. Okay. Tilak was sent away. He was deported to the Mandalay jail, Burma. Okay. Judgment was pronounced and Tilak was sent away for 6 years. 6 years imprisonment. Okay. When Tilak was sentenced for 6 years imprisonment, Max Muller, who translated Vedas into German, he pleaded with the British. Okay. Why? Because he made it quite clear. In Tilak, he had seen great Vedic scholar. Tilak wrote, Gita Rahasya. If you don't know better, you note down. Tilak wrote Gita Rahasya. Tilak, great scholar on Vedas, Rahasya. Okay. And remember also Jinnah pleading, he was the pleader. Okay, he advocated the case of Tilak. Tilak was sentenced to jail. This was a major turning point. The man, you call him the father of Indian unrest. Now he left for, imprisonment, deported, Mandalay jail. That, sent a message quite clear, Lala Lajpat Rai ran away and took shelter in Afghanistan. Bipin Chandra withdrew from active politics. Okay. So Vande Mataram movement got a major blow, a severe blow. No one to lead now. The movement, where is the leader? The problem with the extremist leadership, they never bothered to develop the second line of leadership. Leadership centered around Lal Bal Pal. Now, Bipin Chandra withdrew, Lajpat Rai not to be seen, and Tilak deported. Okay, that's why movement failed. This is one reason. Now, in 1909, Minto Marley reforms were announced. With that, movement completely ended. This is about Vande Mataram movement. Now the questions how it affected India's nationalist movement. Okay. Then what were the subsequent developments that had taken place? This we will all be discussing tomorrow. Right. Now I will